Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your pal Flix here. Today we're going through a lot about weapons because who doesn't love weapons and vehicles in Cyberpunk 2077? Obviously, I'd stay tuned. This is very interesting stuff. Now, guess what? Do you see this beautiful erendite? There's some very good reasons why you shouldn't be driving these supercars over to your missions. But why? We'll get back to that later. Oh, it's gonna be fun to go over. But first, if you enjoy this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily, top quality content. And if you're a real one, hit that bell button as well, so you know exactly when a new video is posted and never miss any Cyberpunk 2077 info. Oh, the Cyberpunk 2077 team spent 2.5 million on a Times Square ad before people lose their mind. This was going to happen if the game was released on November 17th or December 10th, no matter what. There was just so much news coverage over Times Square this week that it makes perfect sense because of, real world events. We can guess what that is. Anyways, weapons. Legit one of the most important parts of a game because honestly, you need to have proper weapon scaling to add that little progression factor into the game that makes you feel like you're actually getting stronger over time. And also, the weapons obviously have to be fun to use since you're probably spending 90% of the game shooting stuff, even on a pacifist run, ironically. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, they're important to make you look cool and feel cool really using them. They've unfortunately confirmed that dual wielding isn't a thing in the game though, which I would understand for, building a fully immersive real world because dual wielding isn't, very realistic. If you really want to get into it, it's just really inaccurate for it. But they're allowing other characters to dual wield, such as Jackie, which begs the question, why can't we dual wield exactly then? Maybe it's just game balancing because Red Dead Redemption 2 did allow dual wielding because, it really fit the scenery of the game. So, it also made, in certain missions, also made us see how sick Arthur Morgan was. But it kind of broke the game because the most OP weapons became dual Schofields and express ammo. And express ammo is insanely cheap to get. Legit, no need to get any weapon after you got those except maybe the pump shotgun. So when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077, what types of weapons do we have exactly? Well, I'm going to break it down for you real quick in the most simplified way I could think of, which is probably still going to be a little bit confusing, but we'll try our best. It's all that matters. Let's go over things that actually, shoot first, then we'll go over melee. Never got that. Still never will. So you've got smart weapons, which you can think of pretty much as aimbot level weapons. They lock onto your enemy and let you shoot them. This includes, dodging or weaving around cover. So let's say someone's behind cover. The aimbot smart weapons would curve the shot so that they actually hit them behind that cover. We've seen them be able to target different parts as well, not just shoot the body, shoot the center of mass. It could go after the head as well, which begs the question if that's related to your skills or a perk that allows you to start locking onto different parts, or I guess upgraded modules inside the smart weapons. But yeah, the smart aimbot weapons are pretty much perfect for you if you don't want to aim or aren't that good at aiming, I guess, because I know, let's be honest, aiming's a pain on consoles compared to PC, where with PC you can make those small fine-tuned adjustments as you go by. That's why games actually include that aimbot, aim snapping for consoles, which I would obviously probably maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if Cyberpunk 2077 goes that route just because aiming in consoles is honestly a pain. Then you have tech weapons, which is also made for you to get around cover. All of them are made, all the weapon main categories are made for you to get around cover pretty much. Except tech weapons let you shoot through cover by charging up your shots, and power weapons let you ricochet those shots. So let's say you shoot the round will bounce and hit the enemy if you're using a power weapon. But if you're using a tech weapon, you can charge up that shot and shoot straight through that cover, even if it's concrete. I believe the example they said was shoot through concrete as if it was cardboard or something along those lines. So yeah, it's just dodging cover to hit your enemy. So those are the overall overarching categories, but this isn't 100% confirmed, but we've seen like the same shotgun as a tech version of it, as a power version, and as a smart version. So we don't know if every weapon, like the base weapon, could be changed between the three, but we know that at least some of them could. Oh, and also enemies in the actual game world can use the upgrade weapons against you actually. So it's not just like you using super OP smart weapons or tech weapons. The enemies are also using it, so they can dodge around. So if you're hiding behind cover, you're not immune. You can still get shot. The drawback to smart weapons might be that you have to move slowly while aiming, though. So you're more of a sitting target. Because when we've seen them shoot smart weapons, they've had to like aim, and when you're aiming, you generally move slower in games. So that might be what's going on. How to balance them instead of like being able to quick fire. But inside those, giant categories, we actually have the different types of weapons. We've seen shotguns, pistols, rifles, and snipers. The reason I only put these and something like submachine guns, SMGs, because we have seen SMGs, but pistol, rifle, shotgun, and snipers all actually have their own skills and perks for them, which means they actually are recognized by the game as actual categories, SMGs aren't. I don't know where they're probably fitting into rifles or pistols and rifles, depending on kind of how that's probably where they're getting spread out. But yeah, pistols, rifles, shotgun, snipers all actually have skills and perks for them, which we saw all the way back in the deep dive. The reflex attribute has the handguns, rifles, and blades. Cool has sniping. Then body has shotgun, two-handed, and melee. Or melee, you know what? I'm never gonna get them. Pretty sure it's melee. Who knows? So pretty much reflex and body are the two combat attributes out of all of them. I know cool has sniping a bit, but that's kind of like separate. It does impact. Cool also impacts kind of combat, but it's a little bit different because if you get shot at, your cool attribute kind of determines how, I guess, shaky you get. At least that was an explanation they gave, which I think I do get back to later. So it kind of impacts the inaccuracy of your weapon. So out of all of them, those like reflex and body are the two combat attributes, which we did go over in a previous video somewhere, I believe. I should definitely start putting these into playlists, like one for weapons, one for vehicles, etc. I think it would make it easier for everyone, including myself. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about melee, by the way. So it's split into, I wonder how many people I'm driving crazy by saying melee wrong. I definitely am saying it wrong. So it's split into kind of three groups: blades, two-handed, and melee, which is interesting because would a katana, for example, get benefits from all three of those skills because it is a bladed weapon, it's a two-handed weapon, it's a melee weapon. That's, that would be super, super OP. I mean, two-handed is probably related more to stamina because we know that there's a stamina bar. In case you have missed it, I'll probably edit it on screen if I don't forget. But yeah, there's a stamina bar where when you swing or attack with a melee weapon, you actually lose your stamina. We didn't see that in the Tools of Destruction trailer, just because I guess that kind of didn't have like any of the HUD into it. But from the actual gameplay we've seen, there is a stamina bar. So, two-handed would kind of decrease the amount of stamina you lose. And that's pretty important to a melee kid because you don't want to run out of stamina and just be I swear they're going to add that sound effect in. And blades is 100% bleed, just because every game does that with blades. Cause like, what is there to do with blades? Just do like some bleed damage, really. I wonder what electricity is doing actually, because there are. Never mind. I'll get into customization in a bit. You could obviously add upgrade and customize your weapons with silencers, scopes, modules, and all that. For melee, there seems to be two big ones, which is electric and heat, or electricity and thermal would be a better explanation, but they're pretty much electric and heat. That's kind of the vibe from most what we've seen so far. I know there's others because we've seen a spiked bat, right? So the blunt weapons also kind of have their own thing going on, but we just haven't seen much of it. We've seen the sledgehammer, but the only sledgehammer we've seen was Sasquatch's unique sledgehammer, which I'll go over real quick. I've already made a video about weapon rarity, but it kind of goes where the full rarity, the golden, is rare weapons, legendary weapons, one of a kind. Then you get to purple, which is epic, it's just epic. Then blue, which is rare, and then green, which is uncommon, then gray, which is common, pretty much. See, I've got that memorized. We kind of struggled with blue for a bit. I was about to say uncommon. So I've left cyberware to the end because cyberware doesn't exactly fit anywhere. I've left the cyberware to the end because cyberware doesn't exactly fit anywhere except the Mantis Blades, which are, I mean, come on. The Mantis Blades are obviously a bladed weapon. The actual icon for the bladed perks is the Mantis Blade, so there's legit no argument about that. And maybe the gorilla hands might count as melee, just because I think not just because we've actually seen the gorilla hands make your fist fighting a lot stronger, which begs the question. I wonder if they'd be disqualified, and because there's an entire quest around I guess melee fighting. Was it a faction? It was a quest or a faction. Anyways, it was like multiple missions with it. So I wonder if having gorilla hands would disqualify you, or if that quest is technically counted as very early on. Because the second you actually leave your Night City apartment and go down, you could actually trigger that quest if you wanted to. So I don't know. But the rocket launcher in your arm and the monowire just don't have any skills with them. I mean, maybe the monowire could fit into hacking somewhere, but the rocket launcher in your arm, just no. There's no skills for it. There's no real skills for any boom booms, you could say. So just left out there in the rain. The skills don't just open up perks, by the way. They actually change some more important things, like how you're handling, I guess. Except for melee weapons, it'll probably be speed and stamina loss. We know it 100% changes how fast you reload for the actual weapons, because we actually saw that live in the 48-minute demo, where you were reloading one shell at a time, and later on you were actually reloading 2 shells at a time for a double barrel. But we don't know how accuracy is going to work. Let me explain why accuracy in games is done in one of 2 different ways generally, because you can't have the player being 100% accurate all the time, or unfortunately the game would be too easy. Maybe not so for consoles. For PC, it would be insanely easy. So the first way of doing it is to add spread, which kind of randomizes your shots a bit. Red Dead Redemption 2 RDR2 did that to make you shoot slower. It was pretty much like I really hope they don't do they're not going to actually do the RDR2 method. It was kind of annoying till you got the hang of it, but there's pretty much this circle where when you shoot it becomes really big, which is high spread, then it kind of fine tunes itself. It was kind of fun, but also wasn't until you got the hang of it. And you actually, here's something that people don't know. RDR2 also had a skill system that was kind of hidden, where the more you use the weapon, the more familiar you got with it, and the more accurate and faster reload that you got, which is pretty funny. It's like near the end of the game, you're actually OP. So that they kind of did it so you couldn't like OP shoot really fast with revolver with dual wield, even though eventually you were able to. Or games could also do sway, where it actually wobbles when you're aiming, so it's harder to get a shot on. Mostly the Fallout series does that until you level up your skills a bit. There's also the whole recoil thing where it jumps up more and more when you hold the trigger. But generally, going for a full auto weapon is bad in these types of games, because you're better off going with a high power slow weapon, because 1, it saves you on expensive ammo, because believe it or not, you could get different types of ammo, including non-lethal rounds, take down on a pacifist run. That's why I said you're shooting for like 90% of the game, even on a pacifist run, because you're still going to have to use non-lethal rounds. They've even said that you can do a pacifist run. I believe their quote was, you can do a pacifist run, but you can't do like a non-violent run or something along those lines. Now, we do know from an interview that it might be more leaning towards wobble, because when they were talking about the cool stat, I believe during the deep dive interview, they said how your character would kind of panic with a low cool when he's getting shot at. So I suppose the panic would make you kind of like start shaking when you're with the weapon, which is the wobble effect, except, wobble effect that makes a bit more sense rather than just skills. And also having a high power slow weapon would be amazing against armor, just because actually it depends how they're doing armor. We don't know how they're doing armor, Because Fallout did have that big damage threshold versus damage reduction thing, which kind of split people apart. Anyways, I think I've made you wait like 20 minutes to answer the first question. How long have I made you wait, actually? It's not 20 minutes, nah. It's like 15 minutes, okay? That's not bad. I've waited like 15 minutes to answer why you shouldn't drive these super high-end cars to missions. Well, in my defense, it was this or don't talk about it at all, because this is like one of two things that I have about vehicles, and I can't make two things into a video. Trust me, I'm very amazing, but I'm not that amazing. So the reason you don't want to be driving these super OP high-end cars into missions or during missions is because the characters in Night City will actually realize and notice what you're driving. So if you're just going into a mission in, let's say, Haywood, a more poor down neighborhood, and you come driving in an Erendite, you're pretty much, you just can't stealth that mission. If you're planning to, you know why? Because they can realize right there and then that, hey, this guy doesn't belong here. This guy's driving a car that 100% doesn't fit in the neighborhood. What is going on here? So if you want to stealth, you actually have to dress and, drive cars similar to others in the neighborhood. That means even driving like a junk car in Westbrook's wealthy neighborhood would make you stand out. So to not get caught, you have to actually dress and drive the way. Well, not really dress. I guess it depends. Dress might be a factor, but it also might not. Because if you're sneaky, you're actually not being seen. I don't know. It's a little bit up there. But you definitely have to drive cars similar to the neighborhood you're actually in, so you actually don't get caught before you even start stealthing the mission. That's a little hidden mechanic for you, for those trying to be all sneaky and all. But I'm not going to be, because first run is definitely going guns blazing. Pacifist run has to be sneaky though. Anyways, if you all enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like it if you liked it. Dislike if you disliked. I wouldn't salute you for making it this far anymore, because you've literally destroyed my soul. And subscribe to keep up to date with all the new top quality content about Cyberpunk 2077. Post outro. I've got absolutely nothing. We've got like 31 more videos to make till Cyberpunk 2077 launches, and I get this burden off my shoulders where I'm like, yes, now I've got content for days, man. It'll literally be so easy to make content when the game launches. I've also got this feeling that we aren't getting any more trailers for at least another 20 days, because I've got this theory, this little theory. I might make a video about it, but I'm pretty sure that they pretty much had all the trailers planned and done before they aired the first Night City wire. I'm pretty sure, but I'm 99% sure about that. Anyways, I'd say you're amazing, but you already know that. So I guess I'm just gonna say peace.